Hello, and welcome to another episode of AI Adventures. I'm your host, Mr. Don't BS Me. On today's episode, we have a story from grumpy old grandpa. Governor Pritzker is building a private army? I don't think so. Let's just hear what he has to say, shall we? Brought to you by PikeCountyZombieControl.com.
Although all the facts are true, PikeCountyZombieControl.com may not agree with the conclusions represented by the facts displayed in this segment. We'll leave that up to you to decide. If any of this offend you, makes you sick, or you start to cry, don't blame us. Blame your parents, your school system, and your government for filling your head full of crap.
Hello, peasants. Let's look at the governor's recent comments.
To anyone who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans, I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people.
This
You come through
psychological
me.
propaganda is meant to associate illegal immigrants with Illinois citizens. They started with undocumented migrants to replace the term illegal immigrants. The next step is to make the term illegal immigrant hate speech, propaganda, style, fear, and guilt, so you will self-censor. He is just playing his part in a plan cooked up by the New World Order globalist, a plan that started several decades ago to collapse the United States of America.
Come on, Grandpa. That's just some crazy Alex Jones conspiracy crap. If it were true, it would have been on the news.
Okay, smarty pants, they don't teach this stuff in your communist school systems. So, sit back, relax, and listen up before I tan your hide. Long before the governor ever started to build his new voter bloc, the not-for-profit and charity organizations started planning for the immigration of third world refugees into the United States. Under the cover of refugee status, they also slipped in terrorist and criminal gang organizations. That's why a majority of the migrants are military-aged men. Today, they have organized the routes for maximum efficiency. They give out maps with route options and instructions on what to say at the border. Our federal government is assisting this inflow with a phone app that will actually let immigrants make appointments.
Grandpa, I know you're pulling my leg. The governor doesn't have a voting block of migrants. Non-citizens aren't allowed to vote.
That's so naive, sweetheart. In 2017, Illinois partnered with ERIC Inc. to help maintain the voter registration logs. ERIC collects data from sources like the DMV, Social Security Administration, and the U.S. Postal Service. In the Illinois Trust Act, the state is not allowed to share immigration status with anyone, including federal law enforcement. In 2024, the governor signed legislation which changed the driver's license for non-citizen residents. ERIC generates a list of potential non-registered voters. They have no idea if these people are eligible to vote or not.
Grandpa, you have to have a social security number to get a valid ID.
No, you need an individual tax ID number. Illinois has made it easy to get help. You can go online, fill out the forms, or even make an in-person appointment to get someone to help you. At the end of their first year here, the illegal immigrants file tax forms so the government can collect taxes from them. Even the banking cartels are cashing in on this and giving out loans. It doesn't matter to them if there's a possibility of deportation. They know they will get bailouts from the government with taxpayer money, just like the market crash in 2008.
So, what if they have a driver's license and a tax number? What difference does that make? They still can't vote.
Because words matter. You are not allowed to employ or harbor illegal and undocumented immigrants. We already have laws and regulations to keep it safe and allow for people to immigrate into the U.S. We also have laws to allow non-U.S. citizens to work here. These laws protect us from national security threats like terrorists and still allows for legal migration. It also protects the migrants from being used as slave labor and undermining our economy. people who have crossed our border without going through the system is an illegal immigrant. But when our governor introduced the Illinois Trust Act, it removed the term illegal immigrant and replaced it with undocumented immigrant. It also changed some of Illinois' laws that removed the sections that said you had to be a U.S. citizen. Think about the governor's actual intentions by making these changes and what effect it has. Now apply that to our Illinois voting system. Add in the attitude of half the country, bombarded by propaganda to do whatever they need to do to save democracy. The ERIC registration system is definitely a weak spot. It would take just one insider to leak that information of potential voters to an organization that want to affect elections.
Grandpa, when was the last time you seen a mental health care provider? I think you've been watching too much Alex Jones, and you could be borderline paranoid schizophrenic. There's no way that information can get out. They have safeguards and security measures to prevent that. And even if it had leaked out, we would know about it. There would have been some kind of investigation, but there isn't.
Really? Okay, let's say you're right. You're basing your opinion on what you know, the propaganda from the mainstream media, and the education you receive from your communist indoctrination schools. But you are also depending on the people that are obviously breaking federal law by allowing and hiding illegal immigrants to tell you that they've been rigging the elections through unregistered voters. In any situation, do you really believe that the criminals are going to investigate themselves and then tell you?
Whatever! What's that have to do with the governor building an army?
Little lady, you better relax and take a breath. In my house, that smart mouth is only going to get you in trouble.
Sorry, Grandpa.
Okay, let's review some history. We'll start with the Greeks and how they tricked their enemy with the Trojan horse. The Trojans were so self-absorbed with their victory celebration that they failed to see the danger. The Trojans simply opened the door to their own destruction. The fall of Constantinople. After 800 years of resisting all enemy attacks, the city's defenses were finally breached by the Knights of the Fourth Crusade. Not by brute force, but infiltration. The Knights planted somebody inside the city, waited until the time was right, and conveniently left the door open. The term terrorist sleeper cell entered the mainstream following the September 11th attacks. Sleeper cells are groups of terrorists, often funded by larger networks, who set up in a target country and wait for instructions. The French Revolution. Some of the main causes that had the people rise up against their government was economic hardships, social inequality, Enlightenment ideas, and immediate triggers. Propaganda has been used for war throughout history. Today it's used for everything from what kind of toothpaste to buy to political ideologies. Propaganda, in simple terms, is the control of information. Now that we've had a brief review of history, let's talk about the attack on America.
OMG, no way! Who do you think is attacking us? Demonic, interdimensional, soul-sucking aliens?
That's my girl. Question everything. But adjust your attitude with me. We are under attack from people we've never heard of. Everyone asked, who are they? They are nameless, faceless people who influence our elected officials. They are the people who consider themselves the ruling class. They are the unelected people who have decided that they know what's best for you and me. They are the people who are members of the Bilderberg Group, participate in the Bohemian Grove, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and many other secret and not so secret organizations. They, just another name for evil. Governor Pritzker was first sworn into office, January 2019. He immediately went to work on legislation changing the Illinois Trust Act, eventually renaming it the Illinois Way Forward Act. It's the federal government's responsibility to check the people who are filing for citizenship applications. This keeps America safe. After the application has been approved, then they can become citizens. Governor Pritzker's legislation has given illegal immigrants practically all the rights as an American citizen. He has spent our money on housing, food, education, and medical assistance. This is an incentive to increase illegal immigration. House Bill 3751, allowing illegal immigrants to own firearms and become law enforcement, is a clear conflict of federal laws. President-elect Donald Trump says he's going to start mass deportations on day 1, January 20th, 2025. Our Governor Pritzker wasted no time putting out a statement after the election. This highlighted section of his statement is propaganda. None of that is true. This propaganda incites fear and anger. The governor is trying to rally support for his un-American policies. Over 325,000 children have been trafficked and are missing, according to testimony in Congress. No matter what your political views are, this is evil. How many of these children were processed through the state of Illinois? Chicago's Mayor Johnson has announced plans to end funding for the illegal migrants on January 1st, 2025.
It's getting late, and there's still no army.
Are you sure about that? Let's see if you've been paying attention. If the governor really thinks Trump is that bad, and he has the same ideology as the people that want to destroy our country, what part of history would describe him?
He would be the infiltrator that the Knights of the Crusade sent into the city, waiting for the perfect opportunity.
The propaganda about how much we need the migrants, that we should feel sorry for them, feel guilty about not helping them enough, greet them with open arms. What part of history is that?
That would be the Trojan horse. We just took them in without thinking about any other issues that might arise.
According to history, what could you call the Venezuelan gangs that have taken residence in Chicago?
That one's easy. They are sleeper cells backed by the cartels that make their money from trafficking humans, smuggling drugs and guns.
When the government cuts off the free money and food from the illegal immigrants, what do you think is going to happen according to history?
Well, they're probably going to be really upset. They came here because they were promised free stuff and a better life. Now they're going to be in the same situation that they just left. They are going to be really mad, just like the population in the French Revolution.
Sweetheart, that's what you call an army? Now we all just have to wait for the governor to find the right opportunity. The future President Trump says he's going after the human traffickers and the worst of the illegal immigrants first. It's just going to take one event of illegal immigrants fighting back. If even one child or woman is hurt in the crossfire, the entire propaganda machine will try and convince us that they were right and Trump is a reincarnation of Satan. That one event is the opportunity they are waiting for. Governor Pritzker has passed gun bans with a sole intent to keep the Illinois residents from being able to fight back. He will use this opportunity to bring even more illegal immigrants into law enforcement with the promise of citizenship. That is the same tactic used by the United Nations when sending troops in hostile areas. They never use troops from that country, they always use troops from another country, because military units will hesitate to use lethal force on their own population, but the military units from another country will not hesitate. Now that we're all waiting, hoping and praying, this doesn't happen. What do you think we should do in the meantime?
Maybe we should spend more time at the gun range.
All I can say is I'm glad this grumpy old grandpa didn't tell me bedtime stories. Please visit our sponsor, PikeCountyZombieControl.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Mr. Don't BS Me.